Podcast City Network.
Hey guys, and welcome to another exciting episode of Final Score, episode 124. And we're getting deeper in October, which means there's a lot of great football action this past weekend being absolutely crazy. And quick shout out to Jimmy in the chat. Thank you for joining, bud. But I can't do this episode without the one, the only S Money of Fixed Edge. How you doing, bud?
Good. What's going on, everyone?
Oh yeah, ready for an exciting episode?
Always, you know that. Prime time.
Oh, yeah, baby. You know it. But before we could do that, you guys got to make sure to follow us on social media at PCN Final Score on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, Twitch, and Instagram. Go on there, hit the like, follow, and subscribe buttons. That way you can see the latest and greatest from Final Score. But that does bring us to our college football top 10, and we definitely had a shakeup this week. Number 1, Alabama going down to unranked Texas A&M. Absolutely crazy. What'd you think of that game there, S-Money?
So my buddy that runs a book out in the West Coast where it's legal, they had every bet just about come in on Alabama, and that line stayed right around 17, 18, never really shot any higher. So that's a given. Nah, as far as the upset, it's definitely like, wow, you know, but as far as like the game, I expected it to be a lot tighter than most people thought because there was no tickets coming in on A&M. So that's on the investing side. Definitely a crazy outright upset for sure. Seeing the parents' kids over there, they kick the winning field goal, like that's sports, you know?
Oh yeah, for sure. And it definitely was crazy, especially the kicker, like you said, the kicker's parents there. Pretty sure his mom was one of the first ones over the wall. So absolutely crazy. Yeah, man. It's something. Yeah. That's definitely sports. And you know, that's why the games are also played. You know, you can't expect that Alabama's going to win every single game every single year either. So, but
that's why we watch, right? We watch for those moments, you know?
Exactly. But jumping into our top 10, number 1 is now Georgia at 6-0 after beating ranked Auburn 34-10. Quarterback Stetson Bennett looking pretty strong, 14 of 21, 231 yards and 2 touchdowns. Zamir White also having 2 touchdowns. But Georgia is really going to, I think, kind of have a test this upcoming week when it comes to number 11 Kentucky, who's also now 6-0, and one of our teams to watch outside the top 10. So definitely going to be very interesting.
What's that line?
I don't even have a line for it, to be honest.
Let me see if I can pull it up while you're talking. But that's interesting. I just think Georgia's the best team in the country. I told you that a few weeks ago. It's not nothing new because they're 1 now. I told you a few weeks back once the season got going, I seen them play a couple games. That defense is ridiculous. The offense is good enough to do something. Man, that's a complete team over there.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. They really are a complete team. Top to bottom, offensively can move the ball pretty good. That defense is one of the best defenses I've seen in a long time, honestly.
You know what that line is?
What's the line for Kentucky?
23. That's a roll job. They're going to blow Kentucky right out of the building.
Not
even going to be contest.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to be much of a game, and this game's going to also take place in Georgia, so definitely going to be very interesting to see if Kentucky can put up any kind of a fight, honestly.
No fight at all. Nah. They get beat. They're going to get beat by 3 to 4 touchdowns, just as the numbers say here. Maybe worse. Kentucky might not even score on that defense, man. Who knows?
Yeah, who knows, honestly. And given the kind of shout-outs Georgia's been able to give, I mean, hey, they've taken ranked teams and made them to turn in nothing for points. So they definitely could happen. But looking at our number 2 team, we got Iowa now 6-0 after beating previously number 4 Penn State 23-20. Spencer Petras not looking too bad, 17 of 31, 195 yards and 2 touchdowns. But the defense came up with 4 huge interceptions in this game, and also knocked out Penn State's quarterback Sean Clifford. So definitely was such an amazing game to watch. Iowa gets it done and has one of their best rankings, I think, in like 30 or 40 years, if I'm not mistaken. What do you think of this Iowa squad, man?
Defense, yes. Offense, no. If they didn't knock out Clifford, would have been a different ball game. And we were on the Iowa side, so we cashed, and that was great. But talking football, they don't knock him out. It's a different ball game. The defense is good, though. But, how many games is it? The defense is always going to keep you in a game, But if that offense can't get going, they got Goodson. That's about all they got over there that's good. That and the defense. So I do think it's a little fluff at a higher spot. I think the defense is as good as anybody's, but I think the offense is as bad as anybody's.
Right.
So, when they get the right turnovers and score in position, it helps them. But when they play some of these big-name schools in the top 10, the defense ain't going to be enough to shut down some of these serious schools, like Ole Miss. Like, it's not going to shut down that kind of an offense.
Oh, yeah. Very true.
So,
that kind of speed.
Hats off to them. Can't take nothing away. They're 6-0, so if they keep winning, I can't say nothing about. They knocked the quarterback out. Game was getting a little carried away before they did that. So let's call it like it is.
Yeah, absolutely. And Iowa figures, though, to kind of roll in their next game, taking on 3-2 Purdue. Purdue probably not going to put up much of a fight in that one. Iowa should win by a couple of scores. But our next team, number 3, Cincinnati, after beating down Temple 52-3, are now 5-0. Desmond Ridder looking great, 22-30, 259 yards, 3 touchdowns. But that running game with Jerome Ford, 149 yards and 2 touchdowns himself. Definitely playing some great football, especially after coming off the win against Notre Dame as well. This team is now rolling in the top 4 and could become one of the first independents one of the non-Power 5 schools to actually make the playoff. So what do you think about Cincinnati so far?
Another fluff team up there. Notre Dame's not that good this year. Temple's horrendous. Who else they got in that schedule? There was nothing that great. Indiana was the best school they played, maybe, unless you count. Notre Dame was the best school they played. After that, Indiana, not much. Get a UCF team this week at home. UCF has shown not to be too much this year. They had to come back and barely beat ECU last week. They're okay. Top 4 or 5 going to go to the playoff thing? Not a shot. Another team that'll fall right out of there.
Yeah, and they still have a date with number 23 SMU later on down the line, but really they haven't had much of anything outside of Notre Dame and Indiana, like you said. So I tend to have to agree. I think this is kind of going to be a fluffed up schedule. They're going to have to dominate everybody, I think, to even have a shot. But the thing is, there's going to be a lot of trap games, including next week against 3-2 UCF, who's definitely out for blood, and this is a rivalry game. So it will be definitely interesting to see if Cincinnati can make it through UCF or not.
I think they will. I think it'll be a little closer than the predictions of that. That's actually a 3-touchdown game too. I think it'll come in a little bit below that, but UCF's they're not good this year. Well, not good compared to how we've been used to seeing them.
Right.
They're still an okay team, average. So again, Cincinnati's not going to be really. They'll be tested a little more than Temple, but I wouldn't be shocked to see them win convincingly this weekend either. Although I wouldn't be surprised with the upset either. I just don't think, Cincinnati like one of those elite teams yet.
No, yeah, absolutely. And I have to agree with that. So UCF, though, has lost their quarterback, Dylan Gabriel, to injury, which is, I think, a huge blow. That's kind of put them where they are now. But, yeah, we'll definitely see what we get out of Cincinnati going on down the road for here. Our next team, though, number 4, Oklahoma, 6-0 after beating Texas 55-48 in an absolute shootout. This game, the highest scoring game they've ever had in the entire rivalry. And a lot of it was thanks to running back Kennedy Brooks, 25 touches for 217 yards, 2 touchdowns, putting in a strong game. But the biggest story of this game was the Sooners pulling Spencer Rattler out of the lineup and putting in quarterback Caleb Williams, who didn't play too bad, 16 of 25, 212, and 2 touchdowns. But I don't know. This is you're going to have an issue
Live
now, I feel like.
Score. They clinched live on final score there.
Oh, nice.
Nice. That's what I was looking at over there. Yeah, Braves clinch. Anyways, Oklahoma, as much as I like Texas, and last weekend, Texas outplayed them. Freshmen came in, showed poise. Right now, how don't you have them the number 2 team in the country? Although I don't know if they're the number 2 team. I don't even know if they're better than Bama. But the way this thing works, how are they not number 2 compared to Iowa and Cincinnati? Even though they should have lost last week as well. Just a better football team. And do you go back? I think you kind of got to go back to Rattler. But I don't know. I mean, do we play what the TV wants to see, or do we play off the win last week? I mean, Buddy came in there to win, but then they went back to him for the 2-point conversion. That was a little weird, right? Like, you bench me, but then you bring me in for the 2-point conversion.
Yeah, that definitely was strange.
And then he gets it, though, and then you don't put him back in. I mean, I don't know. I don't know what they'll do with that. I definitely think right now they should be in front of Cincinnati and Iowa as far as top 10 goes.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing they're looking at is some of these very narrow wins they've gotten against teams that they should have blown out, but they are still 6-0 regardless and just beat a ranked Texas team. So, I mean, it's kind of hard, with the argument between them, Cincinnati, or them and Iowa on who should be where, but I think a lot of things are going to shake out, especially when it comes to Iowa in the Big Ten race. Iowa has a lot of hard games ahead of them when it comes to like Michigan State, Ohio State. So they still have a lot they have on their plate, but I think it's all going to shake out in the end, and we'll definitely see what we have and you still have at our number 5 team, Alabama, looming right there behind all of them with their one loss at 5-1. Didn't fall very far after losing to an unranked Texas A&M 41-38. So,
but let's be honest. Like, I know, I'm not a Bama fan either, but they're definitely still a top 5 team. Now, if they lose another game, they're still in the 10. If they lose 2 more games, then out of there. But given that they lost 1 game, and how good they are, if they went out and win the SEC championship, you got to put them in the playoffs.
Yeah, because that means they'd have to beat Georgia. Because that means they'd have to beat Georgia.
Right, but then you still put Georgia in there too.
Well, I think that depends on how close the game is.
If both of those teams went undefeated the rest of the way, and then Bama beat Georgia, I don't care if Cincinnati goes undefeated. I don't care if Iowa goes undefeated. You still got to put those 2 teams in there because they're the better 2 teams in college football.
And this is why we need an expanded playoff, honestly.
Yeah, I agree with that too.
But looking at Alabama real quick in the loss, quarterback Bryce Young still played pretty good, 369 yards and 3 touchdowns. The running back had 147 yards, but this wide receiver they have, Jamison Williams, who seems to be just like another breed of wide receiver that Alabama just keeps producing. That's going to probably eventually end up in the NFL. 146 yards and 2 touchdowns, putting in a great game. But Alabama will have a chance to rebound against Mississippi State, who's 3-2. So we'll see what we get out of Bama come next week. But
you know what we're going to get.
It's going to be another beatdown.
Yeah. They know now. They know what they got to do.
Mm-hmm. And I think Bama has a good chance to go undefeated the rest of the way, but they just have to stay the course now and make sure that they don't allow things like Texas A&M to happen. So,
what if they go undefeated and they lose to Georgia?
I think they're out of the playoff. That's 2 losses. And if you have a lot of these teams that are end up running the table or only have 1 loss,
I still don't. But I
do you put a 2-loss Alabama in?
I don't. I put them in before a undefeated Cincinnati team.
Oof, now that's controversial.
Iowa, undefeated Iowa team. I gotta say, if they can go through and start beating, I can't say that. But undefeated Cincinnati team, I still take a 2-loss Bama team in there before undefeated Cincinnati team.
Oh my gosh. I mean, we could see that happen. Who knows? It definitely will be interesting. But looking at our number 6 team, we got Ohio State at 5-1 after beating down Maryland 66-17. Quarterback C.J. Stroud putting in a stellar game, going 24-33, 406 yards and 5 touchdowns. And not a bad running day either from Henderson, who had 102 yards and 2 touchdowns. What do you think of this Ohio State squad so far?
Better than Iowa and Cincinnati. They're in the mix. I mean, they got beat by an Oregon team that hasn't shown to be too much. So, you're talking about Alabama being 5. Them being 6 is a little generous. But then again, there's not much in there this year in the top 10. Cincinnati and these cupcake teams that are in there. So, Ohio State, right now, Bama, Georgia, Ohio State, and some random team that gets hot. One of these teams you're going to name maybe possibly slides in. But you probably think Ohio State, Georgia, Bama should be 3 of the top 4.
Yeah, generally. But the biggest thing I see with Ohio State is that they've looked weak in some games. Now, they've been able to get a beat down against Maryland, but Maryland's really not too much. And, they're really.
Right?
Yeah, that's true. But they still have to have, I think, a signature win. And that's one thing Ohio State doesn't have. And they're going to have a chance to get that, especially when they have to play Penn State and Michigan. So it'll be interesting to see where Ohio State kind of goes from here. If they can run the table and win the Big Ten, I don't see a way you can keep them out, even with having the loss to Oregon. But it's a lot of proving they got to do, and they still got another 6 games, 7 games to do it. So we'll definitely see what we get. They'll be on a bye week next week, so we won't be able to see them in action again for another 2 weeks. But looking at our number 7 team, Penn State, after their loss to Iowa 23-20, Sean Clifford went out with an injury after throwing for 146 yards and 2 picks and running for 36 yards and a touchdown. But backup was ineffective. He also threw 2 picks. So it just doesn't look good for Penn State when they were playing against Iowa. But Penn State is still, I think, a good team. But I think that Iowa game is going to end up keeping them out of the playoff no matter what they do, unless they go on to win the Big Ten and literally go undefeated.
No.
But
I had Penn State proved to me they're legit. If they went out, assuming their quarterback's back and whatever, and they went out, and their only loss comes after their quarterback went out like that, you got to put them in the Final Four.
The only way they do that is if they go undefeated.
Huh?
Only way they do that is they go undefeated, which means they'd have to play Iowa again. They still have a game against Ohio State. I don't know, man. I don't know if they can make it through all that, and I don't even know how serious this injury is for Sean Clifford.
The defense looked good, although I know Iowa's offense is weak. But more importantly, that offense looked in sync. They looked like they were giving Iowa problems when Big Clifford was in there.
Yeah, but Clifford still had the 2 interceptions too. So, I mean, a lot of mistakes that were made. But then again, once you go out with an injury, you can't really put anything else on them. So, I don't know. I'm just not fully sold on this Penn State team yet. But who knows? A lot could happen.
Compared to the other teams we got, I'm sold as one of the better teams in the top 10 that you've named so far.
Oof. Well, we'll look at our number 8 team, Michigan, who's quietly gone themselves to 6-0 after surviving Nebraska 32-29. Cade Manara not looking all that strong for 255 yards and a pick, but the running back, 123 yards and 2 touchdowns, is where really the game was won. So, what do you think about the Wolverines so far?
Bluff. I don't ever buy into Michigan, Harbaugh. That combination has been terrible. Don't think their schedule has been that great. I think they have a couple decent wins. Their true colors are going to come out here when they get a decent matchup. I think Wisconsin was the best team they played, and let's face it, Wisconsin ain't that great this year.
No, they're really not.
So another fluff team that I think will be out of there.
And we'll definitely get a chance to see that after they have to play Michigan State and Ohio State. So definitely going to have some tests going forward. But our number 9 team, Oregon, was on a bye this week. Are still 4-1. We'll play Cal next, who's 1-4. So figures to be a pretty easy win for the Ducks. But what do you think of Oregon so far? The real only signature win has been against Ohio State.
Fluff. More fluff. Pac-12 looked good the first week or two. Now these teams are beating each other. Oregon State's winning games. Oregon almost barely beat Arizona, who hasn't won at all. They lost to Stanford. UCLA got them, and blah, 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 blah. Fluff. I think the whole division might just be a little above average, but nothing to concern ourselves with playoff material.
Yeah, and I don't think the Pac-12 is really going to be able to place anybody in the playoffs, so I think it'll be another sad year for the Pac-12. But coming in at number 10, we got Michigan State 6-0 after beating Rutgers 31-13. Putting on a very offensive show with Peyton Thorne throwing for 340 and 3 touchdowns. Kenneth Walker running for 232 and a touchdown. But most of those passes from Thorne went to Jalen Naylor, who had 221 yards and 3 touchdowns on only 5 receptions. definitely showing that they have some offensive power, but it is just Rutgers. So they definitely get a little bit more, I think, of a test when they take on a 2-3 Indiana squad that's been shown to be pretty pesky at times. What do you think of Michigan State at this point?
Uh, uh, better than they normally have been. I don't believe it yet. Like you said, it hasn't been much of a test for them. But for a Michigan State team in the last several years, they're decent. Michigan State, when do they play?
Let's see. Michigan's going to be on a bye. Michigan State will be playing Indiana.
Michigan and Michigan State is going to be a good game when they play each other.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Absolutely agree.
Not a championship team. Right now, all you got in there, Penn State, Bama, Georgia, Ohio State. And I'm even shaky. I think Penn State's better than Ohio State. So I think a lot of that's mixed up. That you can name the 5 teams past that are going to join in, and not Notre Dame. But
yeah, as much as I'd love it. But looking at our teams to watch outside the top 10, we got number 11 Kentucky, number 12 Oklahoma State, number 13 Ole Miss, and number 15 Coastal Carolina. All these teams vying to try and get themselves cracked into the top 10. Kentucky at 6-0, Oklahoma State at 5-0. Both teams, I think, could make a decent push. Kentucky's going to have to have hell of a game if they want to do anything past number 11, seeing how they have to take on number 1 Georgia next week. But Oklahoma State is one that could quietly kind of take over the Big 12. Oklahoma, to me, is not that strong and is definitely beatable. Just got to catch them on the right day, and I think Oklahoma State could eventually be that. But yeah, definitely going to be interesting. Ole Miss, though, after their dramatic one against Arkansas, are now 4-1. Coastal Carolina at 6-0, dominating teams left and right. What do you think about? I have to ask you about Coastal Carolina. What do you think about Coastal Carolina?
Better than Cincinnati. I think it can play with those teams. Yeah, they need some respect. I know it's a mid-major or whatever you want to call them, but the last few years they've been playing football, and they need some respect.
Yeah, buddy.
15 is way too high for them. Especially all these teams you just named me, Oregon, all these guys. I don't know. I think Coastal Carolina could play with any of those teams this year.
Oh wow, that's definitely a bold statement right there. I love it.
Now the Georgias, the Bamas, no, but the Cincinnati's, even the Iowa, possibly even Oregon too. I don't know. I think they can hang with all these teams. I don't think they're, even if they lose, I don't know. Cincinnati and 2 and 3 with Iowa, that's bold. That's more bold than Coastal Carolina 15.
That's
Crazy.
true. That's true. But our games to watch for this upcoming week, we do have number 11 Kentucky undefeated taking on number 1 Georgia, also undefeated. Saturday, 3:30 p.m. on CBS. Figures to be a great game, hopefully, but I think Georgia's going to end up blowing out Kentucky and probably taking this one pretty handedly. What do you think? I know you've touched on it a little bit earlier, but what do you think?
Yeah, they're going to wipe the floor with them. It's going to be like 31-3, 31-6, 34-3, somewhere in that area.
Oh, yeah, I definitely could see that, too. Our next game to watch.
30, and the other guy's 10 or less.
Oof, definitely could see it. But our next game to watch is number 12 Oklahoma State at 5-0 taking on number 25 Texas at 4-2. Saturday, 12 p.m. on Fox. This one just because Texas has been playing teams pretty tough, and I think that they could possibly pull the upset on Oklahoma State. Maybe. We'll see. But a good test for Oklahoma State if they want to show that they truly belong in the top 10. What do you think about this matchup?
What time do you say that game goes? Oh,
noon on Fox.
12 noon. Interesting. Will Texas be deflated, or will they just, bounce over that? Oklahoma State's got a good run game. Texas defense is horrible.
Yeah.
I see that line at 5.5. I don't know. I think Oklahoma State might be, with a little bit of defense and running the ball, if they slow down that Texas passing game, I think they can pull the upset. They're the underdog. I know they're higher ranked, but being it's in Texas and Texas played Oklahoma down on the wire last week, um, Oklahoma State is the actual underdog.
Yeah.
So, should be interesting.
Yeah, definitely going to be interesting to see how that one works out. But our last game to watch is more of just a upset alert, I feel like, for me. Number 3 Cincinnati taking on UCF at home, Saturday 12 p.m. on ABC. This one, Cincinnati, I know they've gotten to the highest ranking they've ever had in school history. They're now in a position to be in the playoff. But UCF is a team, I think, still looking for blood right now, especially after the losses they've just recently suffered. This could definitely be an upset special. This is a rivalry game, a lot on the line for both teams. So I think that this one could be a lot closer than people think. But I want to get your thoughts on it.
Yeah, definitely. Letdown spot. I'll probably, now that you brought it to my attention, because I came on your show tonight, I will probably play the money line here just for fun, because I think you're right. Cincinnati being as high as favorite they are, it's worth a shot. I bet you get 5-1 on your money back, and UCF will have a shot. Turnovers and going for it on 4 downs, they could end up losing by a few touchdowns too. It wouldn't be hard for them to lose by, 3 touchdowns like the spread says. But I definitely see an upset could be possible. Cincinnati could be really riding the hype, and so there you go. UCF's not that good this year, and kind of play into that, and then they'll have a problem on their hands.
Yeah, most definitely. And it definitely will be interesting to see how that one's going to work out. But that is our college football top 10 with games to watch. Definitely thank you guys so much for watching that. But it does bring us to our content platforms you can check us out on, including Podbean, Stitcher, TuneIn, iHeartRadio, Bullhorn, Player FM, Listen Notes, Spotify, CastBox, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Pandora, and Amazon Music. And, of course, you can always see our video portions on YouTube and, of course, here on Facebook Live. So definitely make sure to check them out. But as part of a new thing that Facebook's doing, you can also check out our RSS feed and our latest episodes directly on our Facebook page at facebook.com/PCN Final Score. So definitely make sure to check that out as well. Hit those subscribe buttons. Definitely make sure to listen to the latest and greatest and check out one of the fastest growing sports shows around, Final Score. But that does bring us to Fury Wilder 3, where Tyson Fury retains the WBC heavyweight title and closes the trilogy with a second KO win over Deontay Wilder. What did you think of this fight, man?
It was a good match. I think Wilder, he ran out of gas. If he could have he's a power hitter, and if he could have completed it, when he went on that little run, that was his shot. Fury's definitely a better boxer. But man, good fight. People talk about Wilder, but I give it up to him. I don't know if you heard his story. Like, he comes from nothing. Like, he used boxing to take care of his family and his daughter and so forth. So, hey man, he worked it out there. He's in the big leagues. So he's not the best. Right, when he goes out and gives heart, you get caught by one of them heavy hitters, you're going down, and he's doing it for all the right reasons, man. He's definitely more entertaining to watch than Floyd Mayweather.
Oh yeah, for sure. And Tyson Fury, that looked a little chunky out there, but still got the job done. I think this one ended in the 11th, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, definitely was a hell of a fight. I agree that Wilder ended up just running out of gas, and Fury was able just to keep on going. So. Definitely was a great fight. But that does bring us to our Final Score merch, which you can get at the Podcast City Network shop. Because whether it's a neck gaiter to protect you from COVID-19, a mug for your morning coffee, or a t-shirt just to look cool, we got you covered. Get the latest apparel and gear for your favorite podcast and Podcast City Network by visiting podcastcity.net/shop and checking out the lineup. The link also in the description of this video, so definitely make sure to go down there and click on that and take you right to the shop. And you can check out all the great stuff going on over there. But that does bring us to our NFL Week 6 predictions. Last week, I went 11-5, bringing my overall total to 38-26. So not too bad to start off the season. Starting to make things happen a little bit. But this week is definitely going to be interesting and challenging for a number of reasons because of some of these matchups. And I'm definitely interested to see what you think of some of these But we're going to start out with the Thursday night game. Tampa Bay Buccaneers 4-1 at the 2-3 Philadelphia Eagles. As much as I wanted to go with my heart and choose the Eagles in this, I just couldn't. Tampa is way too talented on offense. Is going to be able to probably make some mincemeat of this Eagles defense, even though they woke up against the Panthers. I don't think it's going to be enough for the Bucs, and I think the Bucs might end up taking this one handily. And I got the Buccaneers in this one. What do you think, S Money?
Yeah, I had you guys last week against Carolina. I don't think Carolina is that good, as we discussed. Bucks are too much for you. You don't never know, though. You guys can score a little bit and hang in because that defense is suspect on the Bucks there. But I definitely think you guys lose. So I'll take the Bucks as well there, and they should win pretty easy. Might have to pull off a late game, last drive, already up 1. You guys make it interesting, cutting it to 7 or 3, but I see the Bucks taking it here.
Yeah, definitely. Our next game will be the 9:30 a.m. London game from Tottenham Stadium for the Hotspurs. We'll have the 1-4 Miami Dolphins taking on the 0-5 Jacksonville Jaguars. Man, we're really giving the people in London crap games, I tell you. But this one right now, I think the Dolphins are favored in this one. Jacksonville looking like a hot mess and now having a lot of drama and issues with their head coach, Urban Meyer, and Trevor Lawrence not looking all that sharp as well. And the Dolphins, though, have been hungry and have been close, trying to make things happen. Obviously losing their quarterback Tua Tagovailoa to injury early. Supposed to be getting him back here pretty soon. But as far as I understand, it's still going to be Jacoby Brissett for this game. I think, though, the Dolphins have enough to get it done against a weak Jacksonville defense. So they'll be able to move the ball a little bit and be able to get a few turnovers as well, I think, against Trevor Lawrence. So I got Dolphins winning this one. Who do you got, S Money?
Did you see the meme with Urban Meyer saying, hey, guys, have you seen Jon Gruden?
No, I haven't seen that one yet. That's great.
They're like trying to leave me alone. John's worse than me. Yeah, interesting game. Line's low. Dolphins are favored. Dolphins are the better team, no doubt. But doing what I do, I have to go with the Jags in this position.
Oh, snap.
Yeah. I know Dolphins are a better team, and normally if this played out 7 or 8 times out of 10, Dolphins probably win this game. But in this spot, look for the Jags upset.
Oh, man, that'd be crazy to see, honestly. Our next game, our first 1 p.m. game, will be the Green Bay Packers at 4-1 taking on the 3-2 Chicago Bears. Bears getting themselves a win against the Raiders last week. Packers getting the narrow win against the Bengals. This one I feel like was really hard to choose. I think this is going to be a very close game all the way through. Bears are starting to show some life with Justin Fields under center. And, of course, Aaron Rodgers is, Aaron Rodgers. So, I ended up picking the Packers in this one in a close game. It might even come down to a field goal, but I got Packers in this one. Who you got, S Money?
Oh man, it's a tough one. Rivalry, Soldier Field, Chicago. That defense is for real. Hard to go against Rodgers. I went against Rodgers last week and couldn't get a field goal to go in. I mean, that guy's pretty good. Hard to go. The investing side of me wants to tell you take the Bears because that's a smart play, plus the 4.5. But since we're just personally picking these things, and we're not using any investing, I am going to go ride Rodgers as well with the Packers. And I do think we're in trouble. For going against the record's sake, I'm not gambling against Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah.
So, but I'm looking at the line. I'm looking at the way this thing is getting bet. And if that line moves down more, 3.5, you can bet yourself that the Bears are going to cover or lose a close one or upset Green Bay, and we're both going to lose. But, hey, I think I'm going against you. And so if I pick the same side as you, I can't really lose a point because I'm going to get it in the Jags game. So now I'll be 1 up, and we'll go from there.
Well, our next game is going to be an interesting one. You got the 3-2 Cincinnati Bengals traveling to Detroit to take on the 0-5 Lions. I wanted so deep in my heart to choose the Lions and think that they're finally going to get their first win. but Detroit is cursed. It's hard to really pick them. They have not looked good on offense. They have not looked good on defense. And even on special teams, they have bad things just happen to them, a la Justin Tucker. But Cincinnati Bengals look hot. Joe Burrow's been playing good. Jamar Chase is the real deal. And this defense is able to sometimes really hold teams, especially teams that make a lot of mistakes. They're able to capitalize on those. So I think I'm going to end up having to side with Joe Burrow and the Bengals to take this one. What do you think, S Money?
Not so fast, my friend. Isn't that how the what's that guy go?
Yep.
What's the guy with Kirk Herbstreit?
Oh yeah, I can't even. What, Lee
The
Corso?
Costume every day.
Yeah,
Anyway,
Lee Corso.
That was his little saying. So hopefully we don't get kicked off. But you had it right in the beginning. This game is laid out for every bit of the Lions' upset. So I'm not going to say too much. I'm going to take the Lions. Yes, the Bengals are the better team. But I got the Lions and the Jags. One of them gets a win, maybe both of them.
Ooh, maybe. You never know. Definitely be interesting to see if that works out that way. Our next game, we have the 1-4 Houston Texans taking on the 1-4 Indianapolis Colts. Colts losing a heartbreaker after the Ravens came back and won in overtime. The Texans losing also a close one to the Patriots after also having a large lead. This is going to be interesting. Carson Wentz playing some decent football, starting to get the running backs going with Jonathan Taylor, Nyheim Hines. So definitely see how that works out. The Texans, though, I'm not sold on Davis Mills at quarterback. They're still without Tyrod Taylor, still not playing Deshaun Watson. Things are just not looking good in Texans land. I think the Colts end up winning this one pretty decently. What do you think, S Money?
Yeah, I can't argue. I don't think they're that good, but I think they're good enough to get this win. Might be closer than what people expect, but not close enough. I like the Colts here.
Yeah, definitely. Our next game, though, we got the 4-1 LA Rams taking on the 1-4 New York Giants. Giants are in just shambles right now, looking like a husk of a team. But the LA Rams with Matt Stafford absolutely killing it this year. 4-1 right now, only loss coming to Arizona, who's the only undefeated left in the league. So, LA definitely putting up a good campaign right now. And I think the Rams are going to be able to overpower with all the offensive weapons they have with Robert Woods and, gosh, I can't even remember the other wide receiver's name right now. But I think with the offensive pieces they have, they're definitely going to be able to overpower the Giants and take this one pretty handedly. What do you think, S Money?
Yeah, I mean, the Giants don't have Barkley. I don't know if they have Jones. He was stumbling.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, we just need the team to win, right?
That's right.
Yeah, when we going Rams all day.
Yeah, buddy.
I like this one. I wish I could bet like this, just on the teams to win. You have to pay so much on the money line. Like the Rams to win, probably got to lay like 500 to win 100. So it's like,
yeah,
that's where the spreads come into play.
Oh yeah, for
but
sure.
I'm going Rams. Mark me down.
Mark down for Rams. There it is. Our next game, though, we have the 2-3 Kansas City Chiefs taking on the 2-3 Washington football team. Kansas City, man, they're just having all kinds of problems. This whole offensive line has not been working out that great for them. Their defense has not shown up. Patrick Mahomes looking like a shell of himself. And the football team are still without Ryan Fitzpatrick, still turning to Haneke, who's been able to get them at least a couple wins so far this season. So it's so hard to choose this one, but I think I'm going to have to side with the Chiefs. And I think the Chiefs are finally going to start getting this thing back on track. Even being without Clyde Edwards-Helaire, I think they'll be able to find some magic and make it happen. What do you think, S Money?
Yeah, right there with you. I don't know what's going on. I don't count them out yet because they got Mahomes. I don't think this Washington football team's good. They do have a little bit of defense that could hang in there against the Chiefs. Chiefs losing 2 in a row. You got to figure they're bouncing back here. Got to be a bounce back spot for the Chiefs.
Oh yeah, for sure. So definitely should be a good game. It's going to be closer than I think the people expect, but I still think the Chiefs are going to be able to pull that one out. Our next game, though, you
Yeah.
got the 2-3 Minnesota Vikings taking on the 3-2 Carolina Panthers. Panthers falling to the Eagles, which you called last week, but the Minnesota Vikings also getting it quietly done themselves. I think the Panthers are the better offensive team here. Kirk Cousins is prone to making mistakes. It just really comes down to whether the Minnesota Vikings defense actually shows up enough to slow down Sam Darnold in this offense. But I'm going to go ahead and side with the Panthers at home and think they end up taking this one to push themselves to 4-2. What do you think, S Money?
Man, I think it's going to be a pretty good game. Like a pick 'em. Panthers got a better defense. I think the Vikings got a better offense. I think you could flip a coin here, and I think it could go either way. I'm going against you just so we can be opposite somewhere. I'll take the Vikings in this spot.
Oh, he said the Vikings. Let me mark you down. Oh, man. Too crazy. We'll definitely see if it works out or not. But our next game, though.
We can't be on all the same sides.
That's true. Our next game, though, is going to be our game of the week. The 4-1 LA Chargers taking on the 4-1 Baltimore Ravens. This game, is going to be, I think, an absolute exciting game. Might see a little bit of scoring. Might get up into the 30s. Excuse me, but we'll definitely see how that one works out. Lamar Jackson playing some good football. Justin Herbert playing some good football. Austin Eckler running the ball good. Both defenses, well, the Ravens kind of showed up late in their game against the Colts, but the Chargers didn't really show up at all when they got into a shootout, so that's what you get with the defenses. But I still think this is going to be a very close game, come down to the wire, maybe even overtime. But I'm going to side with the Chargers to take this one and move themselves to 5-1. What do you think, S Money?
I'm with you. I think it's going to be a really good game. Man, overtime, maybe even a tie.
Could see it.
Two teams pretty good. I do think the Chargers are the better football team.
Mm-hmm.
I just hate the public's on the Chargers, but if I told you the Chargers are going to the Super Bowl this year, then I gotta like them in this spot. I just don't like the way Vegas has the line. It looks like a Ravens win here, Vegas wise, but I'm going Chargers.
Oh yeah, for sure. I definitely can understand that with the line, though. Definitely can make it very interesting. But looking at our 405 game, we have our only undefeated team left, the Arizona Cardinals at 5-0, taking on the 3-2 Browns in Cleveland. Cleveland not really looking great, not really looking bad. Kind of middle of the road-ish. Depends upon just what day their defense decides to show up along with their offense. The Arizona Cardinals, though, being red hot offensively, defensively, making it happen with Kyler Murray and D-Hop, just making it happen. And I think they're going to continue to make it happen, or going to be able to overpower the Cleveland Browns and be able to push themselves to 6-0 and stay undefeated. What do you think, S Money?
It's going to be a good game. That one's another. Browns can play. They make stupid mistakes. Defense, they outplayed the Chargers.
Mm-hmm.
I think the Chargers are better than the Cardinals. If the Browns can just get their act together, they'll take care of the Cardinals this weekend.
Oh, man, is that your official pick?
That's my pick.
Oh, snap. Man said the Browns. Oh, man. But looking at our next game, the 425 slot, we have the Oakland Raiders at 3-2 taking on the 3-2 Denver Broncos. Oakland Raiders with all kinds of distraction right now with their head coach resigning, which we'll touch on that here a little later. But the Denver Broncos also not looking that strong after dropping 2 straight in this most recent one to the Steelers. Hard to really choose this one, but I think I'm going to side with the home team here and choose the Denver Broncos to edge out the Oakland Raiders, who are still trying to have to figure themselves out now without their head coach. So I think that's going to end up being a lot more detrimental in the long run. But I'm going Broncos here. What do you think, S Money?
Yeah, how do you even side with a team that doesn't have a coach?
Right?
Can't. You don't need to say any more than that. Like, can't take a team that has that kind of distraction going on.
Yeah,
I'm going
absolutely.
Broncos.
Absolutely. Good stuff. Our next game, though, we have the 4-1 Dallas Cowboys taking on the 2-3 New England Patriots. New England barely edging out Houston last week, but the Dallas is looking just great on offense, scoring another 40-burger, this time, though, against the Giants. I think that offense is just going to be way too much for the Patriots to handle, and I think that the Cowboys are going to end up taking this one pretty handedly against the Patriots. What do you think, S Money?
I mean, you said it perfectly, but that's not what Vegas is saying. But again, we are picking. Sorry, it was an exciting game, Dodgers and Giants. But anyways, we are picking what we like, and we're not going Vegas. And I'm going to say Cowboys pull it out, but I'm going to say that game is close, similar to how the Bucs and the Patriots was, and I wouldn't be surprised to see an upset there.
Oh man, that'd be crazy, honestly. Looking at our Sunday night game, though, we have the 2-3 Seattle Seahawks taking on the 2-3 Pittsburgh Steelers. Both teams in disarray. Seattle, though, without Russell Wilson, who will be out now a minimum of 4 weeks after having surgery on his finger. I think, though, looking at the Steelers as well, having gotten the win last week against the Denver Broncos, are going to be able to keep it rolling. Seattle's just not going to be able to get things going offensively with Geno Smith. And I think the Steelers end up taking this one and pushing themselves back to 500. What do you think, S Money?
Yep, you said it right there. I mean, anytime a team doesn't have their quarterback, and even with their quarterback, they weren't looking all that hot. Defense isn't as good as it's been in the years. It's still decent. No Russell, no S Money. That's pretty much it. You know, got to go with the Steelers there to take care of business at home Sunday night.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Definitely going to be some good stuff. But look at Monday night game. We have the 4-1 Buffalo Bills taking on the 3-2 Tennessee Titans. This is going to be interesting, especially if Tennessee has the receivers back, but I still think Buffalo has a better defense. I think that they'll be able to get some more stops. They won't be able to completely stop them because we know how Derrick Henry can be, but I think Buffalo will have enough offensively to get it done and be able to pull out this win against the Tennessee Titans and push themselves to 5-1. What do you think, S Money?
Let down spot. Bills just winning to KC took care of business handedly. Not going to be the same thing in Tennessee.
Oh, snap.
Not back-to-back weekends. No. And if the Bills do pull it out, it'll be close. But I'm going to take the Titans with the upset here.
Oh, man. Absolutely crazy. Absolutely crazy.
That's why I'm S Money, right? I'm crazy.
That's true.
I don't think like everybody else.
Oh, man. But that was our week 6 predictions. Thank you guys so much for listening. But definitely make sure to check out Podcast City Network. Final Score is a proud member of Podcast City Network, and there are 20-plus independent podcast members across all genres of podcasting. You can find Podcast City Network on all major social media platforms, including Facebook at facebook.com/Podcast City Network, on Twitter and Instagram at Podcast City Net, on YouTube by searching keyword Podcast City Network, and on our website, podcastcity.net. Be creative, be independent, be yourself. Podcast City Network. Which does bring us to our next story, which is going to be interesting for a number of reasons, because Jon Gruden has resigned as Las Vegas Raiders head coach after a report of anti-gay and misogynist language used in emails that took place, they're saying, I think, 10 to 11 years ago. This has been a developing story now for a few days. NFL was in an exploratory phase of the situation. There's also possible racial slurs used against NFLPA head DeMaurice Smith. Man, this is a pretty crazy situation. What do you think of it so far, S Money?
It had to be a lot more than we know. And I think that's why he resigns. I think Gruden has a certain personality, and I don't think he hides it from you. I think he is who he is. I didn't lose any respect for him here. I don't know exactly what was said. If something was too far said, we're in the wrong days for that.
Right.
It could have been the slightest thing, because we're in the wrong days for that as well when it comes to this. I was just talking to my good friend about the racism and stuff, and so we're in the wrong times for that. Some people are way more offended than others. At the same time, none of it's good. It just keeps dividing us. Politics, mask mandate, vaccine, racism, right? That's what the country's using to divide us. I don't know how bad this one is, but, as far as Jon Gruden, I think he wears his heart on his sleeve. I think when you heard him tell Antonio Brown, hey, get your act together on the phone recording, I think what you see is what you get with Jon Gruden. So I'm not sure if what he said was taken out of context, but he just had to give up $60 million by walking away. So sucks, but I'm sure, he's got more than what we got, so he'll be okay. And, at the end of the day, things will move on. I don't think we'll ever see him broadcasting or in football. If he had to resign like that, it was something pretty harsh, I'm sure.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And it figures that this is pretty much the end of his football career in all stances of life, whether it be an analyst or anything. But Jimmy saying he didn't win enough to win more games, and they would have swept it under the rug. I mean, maybe, but with this kind of stuff in this type of day and age, it's hard to live that kind of stuff down. So I think he would have been screwed probably either way. But yeah.
He could have done. You mean like Robert Kraft, the parlor?
Yeah, but it's a little different, I feel like, when it comes to, doing anti-gay, misogynistic, even racial language, so.
Hey, well, Antonio Brown, he got off on somebody's back, and he's still in the league.
No, that's true. And Ray Lewis, they say, even killed somebody, so, here we are.
And then they didn't let Ray Rice in for a little fight in the elevator with his wife.
Yeah.
I don't know, but Kareem Hunt came back when he got in the fight. Yeah, I think they pick and choose, man. Like I say, I was a big Manning fan, but if Peyton would have been fighting dogs instead of Michael Vick, Peyton wouldn't have been locked up in jail. Let's call it what it is.
Yeah, I mean, that's true, honestly. And the NFL does seem to want to pick and choose when they kind of deal with these kinds of situations. And I think because also in the emails there was a lot of the defamatory type of comments against Roger Goodell is the only reason the NFL probably even deeply looked into this, because why would you wait until 10, 11 years after the fact to start looking at these emails? So I don't know. Definitely it's kind of interesting on the NFL's part.
Yeah, almost like, I don't know. Like I say, it's something we're not going to really know. Oh, it might all come out, but it might just get swept that way and you don't hear about it no more.
Yeah, definitely.
They don't want to start more problems. They really shouldn't tell us, right? Because let's not start more problems. Because at the end of the day, we don't know what he said or how bad it was. But I don't see him as harmful. So let's not give the guy hate mail and stuff to his house for some thing they're going to take out of context.
Right. Yeah, definitely could agree with that. So we'll definitely see how a lot of this works out. Definitely going to be interesting how it progresses forward from here with Jon Gruden now resigning. And we'll definitely see if we ever see him in any kind of a broadcast booth or any kind of coaching capacity ever again.
Not going to see him, unfortunately.
Yeah, more than likely not. But one thing you will see is good old City Limits Tap Room in beautiful DeLand, Florida. And they are at a new location now. We actually have the old location still up with 2620 North Woodland Boulevard. But City Limits has now moved to a new location, but still has a lot of the great stuff with their venue and music, great food, great drinks, all the sports TVs that you could handle. But they are now located at 4425 North US Highway 17 in DeLand, Florida. So definitely make sure to check them out right up the road from the old location. But they still have all their great drink specials and stuff too, including Monday with all day $6 wing baskets and $5 pitchers of Yingling, Landshark, and Busch Light. Tuesday with Guys Night with half off all wells and drafts from 7 p.m. to close. Wednesday, all-day $5 pitchers of the posted beer from 2 p.m. to close and $2 seltzers at the outside bar. Thursday with ladies' night, $1 wines, wells, and drafts from 7 p.m. to close. Friday's karaoke with Al, great friends of the network, from 7 p.m. to close. And Sunday, $13 domestic buckets and $16 import and craft buckets all day long. So definitely make sure to check out City Limits Tap Room in beautiful D-Land, Florida. And again, don't forget the new address, 4425 North US Highway 17 in D-Land, Florida. But that does bring us to good old meme madness, which definitely have a few funny ones for you guys this week. So definitely make sure to check these out. If you're listening on our audio playback, all you have to do is go to facebook.com/PCN Final Score or to YouTube and search keyword Final Score. That way you can check out the memes yourselves. But our first one is going to be Zach Wilson is on pace to beat one of Peyton Manning's records, and that is most interceptions by a rookie quarterback in NFL history. Right now he has 9. The record is 28. So definitely, I think, on his way to that already. I mean, already a third of the way there. It's pretty crazy when you think about it.
Yeah, but hey, Peyton was one of the greatest to do it, so hey, you never know.
Yeah.
Jets are just poison.
Oh, yeah.
Play for the Jets, it's like getting poisoned.
Yeah. Oh, too good. But our next one says, or at least shows, the hopes and dreams of Lions fans, and the Lions just throwing up the deuces. Oh, man, that sucks. It sucks to be a Lions fan.
Yeah, that's where it's like golf made them worse.
Oh, yeah, like somebody said that was going to happen almost. Interesting. But our next one, Lions fans, they don't ever check single. They never check taken. They just check that they're in an abusive relationship with the Detroit Lions.
Yeah. Abusive for sure.
Oh, man. But this next one, I love this show. Can't even remember the name of it right now, with a superhero that does nothing but kick ass. But Geno Smith being Seattle's hero, interception.
You said Jada Smith?
Geno Smith.
Oh, Geno.
Oh, man. Too good. But we even have some from our good old friend Jimmy the Meme God, who actually created this meme with Geno Smith. Also created this next one. It says, any other sports show, yeah, kind of look kind of sad, but when you watch Final Score, it's all smiles. Oh,
yes, sir.
Man. Yes, sir. Final Score making it happen now that we've broken 1,200 followers on Facebook. Absolutely loving the support from all of our great fans. But our next meme says, waking up on Sunday ready to watch the Lions like it's pain time. But my absolute favorite meme that I have seen in probably quite some time is an Urban Meyer quote. Says, you have to appreciate the grind.
He's got the girl on him?
Appreciate the grind.
He has the girl on him, though?
Huh?
He has the girl on him in the picture?
No, that would have been perfect, though.
Yeah, for sure. You saw that? They were grinding up on him?
Oh, yeah, that is hilarious, honestly. Like, how dumb are you? Say you're not going to travel back with the team and then get caught up in the club or wherever he was at. Yeah. Absolutely is. Yeah, man. Crazy stuff. Absolutely crazy stuff. But that is the end of our meme madness. Again, if you want to see the actual memes, make sure to check out our video playback on Facebook Live by going to facebook.com/PCN Final Score or on YouTube by searching keyword Final Score and checking out episode 124. Definitely a lot of great memes, so definitely make sure to check them out. But that does bring us to Podcast City Network, because if you didn't know, you can actually join Podcast City Network. Because have you always wanted to start a podcast but didn't know how? Do you already have a podcast but don't know how to grow it? Are you trying to find ways to make your podcast profitable? You can learn to do it here at Podcast City Network. We offer consulting services and tutorial classes to help with learning to better expand your knowledge and to grow your show. We also give access to our network of shows to help with cross-promotion, guests, and overall reach, while also becoming a part of our ever-expanding PCN community based on people helping people. And the best part is, no membership fee. So what are you waiting for? Go to podcastcity.net/join now and join the fastest growing independent podcast network around, Podcast City Network. But
that's what I did.
Yeah.
It's free, and it grows your business. Do it, guys. Right? It's a good sales pitch?
Oh, yeah, good sales pitch. Love it. That does bring us to the good old give or go. And we got a couple topics that we're going to cover this week. The first one being the NFL selecting 3 German cities to bid to host regular season games, which we're going to give on because, honestly, like, I understand the NFL is trying to expand and they're looking at Munich and all these other German cities to host games, but now you're just kind of taking it away from the fans that really helped you build all this. I mean, what do you think about this, S Money?
I'm with you. Give it a go. Go, right? Say it go.
Mm-hmm.
Gotta go. Like, meaning we don't want it, right?
Yeah, go means we don't want it. Give means we're going to talk about it a little bit.
Yeah, well, we don't want this. We want to keep it around here. A game in Mexico here and there, or a game in London here and there, so be it. We don't need to do these cities that we don't even know exist.
Yeah, exactly.
So, kick it a go.
Oh, yeah. This next one, though, for give or go, Ben Simmons surprises the 76ers by reporting to Philadelphia. Give or go.
Give a little bit here. I don't know if he's biting his tongue or what he's going to do. I know Embiid and them want him there. You know, I think he was pissed about the trade rumors and the crowd, but hey, the kid can play. He might not be able to shoot, and you better hope he can't shoot, because when he learned how to shoot, he's a walking triple-double already.
Mm-hmm.
So just imagine when he learns to score it. Maybe he never does. Maybe he starts to get real serious with that jump shot. So I think we got to give here and wait to see a little bit longer, see what happens here.
Absolutely. I absolutely agree 100% all the way through. And it'll be interesting to see exactly what happens, too. A lot of people still chasing with the rumor that he might get traded or a deal might be coming soon. And that might be why he's reporting, just so he can stay in game shape. But who knows? A lot of variables here, so we'll definitely see what we get. But that was the good old give or go. Thank you guys so much for listening to that. But that does bring us to PodChaser, because Apple Podcasts is no longer the only place for podcast discovery. You can follow creators and browse every podcast ever and rate and review episodes. Just go to podchaser.com and search keyword FinalScore, one word, and follow, rate, and review us. But that does bring us to the week ahead, which, of course, don't forget to check out NFL Week 6 action to see if all of our predictions come true or not, as well as NCAA Week 7 action and check out our games to watch. So definitely a lot of great stuff there. But you also need to check out all the great Podcast City Network sports shows that we have on the network, including Not a Hockey Market podcast, the Nest podcast, the Rip Griffin Show, the Sportszilla podcast, and, of course, Fixed Edge. Definitely can't forget to check out that one as well. Fixed Edge, though, should be live next Monday. Time to be determined. Just make sure to check out the social media. That way you guys can see when we are going live. But you also can check out episode 125 of Final Score next Tuesday at 9 p.m. Eastern here on Facebook Live. But that is the end of our episode. Any final words, that's Money?
No, got to get tuned in for this week's sports investing.
Absolutely. Definitely got to check it out. And definitely got to check it out with Fixed Edge, man. A lot of great stuff that we're doing over there.
Yes, sir.
Making it happen. But until next time, I am Chris, and that's S Money.
Good morning, guys.
And you guys just watched Final Score. Y'all have a great night.
Podcast City Network.